Welcome to Weekend Wisdom by Creating a Family. Creating a Family is the national support and training nonprofit for foster, adoptive, and kinship families. And the Weekend Wisdom is when we take about 10 minutes to answer your questions. So today's question is on picky eating, living and loving with a picky eater. The question is, my nephew came to live with us last March. He's a great kid who deserves better than he had, but his pickiness with food is driving me crazy. He eats only white carbs. Even his mac and cheese has to have white cheese on it. Boy, all I can say is I feel your pain. I have experienced living and loving a picky eater. It can be tough. And food issues and feeding challenges are not uncommon in adopted, foster, and kinship children for a variety of reasons. They may have had very limited exposure to a variety of foods. They may have experienced food insecurity, or they may not have known when and where their next meal is coming from. They may have experienced food being used as a tool for manipulation or control, or they may have had experience with food used as the only way to express love or to apologize for poor parenting or for neglect. And they may have only had access to junk food. And honestly, they may be just one of those people who has sensory issues, and which can also be expressed in picky eating due to textures of foods. And even babies who are adopted or foster or in kinship care may experience feeding challenges. When a child was prenatally exposed to substances, which many of these children have been, the risks increase. I think one of the things that helps is to think through what it is specifically that is bothering you about the child being a picky eater. If I was honest and looked at myself, I had to acknowledge that I love to cook and I like to try new foods, and having one or two members of the family who turned their nose up at what I fixed meant I either had to fix more things or I had to change the way I was cooking, and not in the ways that I liked to cook. So, it's not all about me, but I did help to look at myself to see what am I bringing to the table, and being an adventuresome eater and loving to cook. And they were inherent in how I thought of myself and our family. So it was a challenge for me. So some practical suggestions for you to handle your picky eater. One, serve meals family style. We had a recent interview on the creatingafamily.org podcast. Dr. Katja Rao, who specializes in this area, she's a pediatrician who specializes in eating disorders, suggested serving family-style meals. Family-style dining is when the serving bowl and the platters are in the center of the table with serving utensils, and each member dishes themselves up from the large bowl or the platter. Kind of think in terms of grandma's table at Thanksgiving. You pass around the plates to each other, and then you put what you choose on the plate. You may have to adapt this with younger kids or those with motor control issues. And honestly, you can keep all the dishes in the kitchen and bring a full plate to the table. The idea, though, is that the children make the decision on what they put on the plate. And one thing to do when you're doing family style, and different families can say that you have to put a tiny bit of everything on your plate. With an extremely picky eater, you may just not even want to get into that at the beginning. You may want to hope that as time goes on, they will do that. One thing that's important is include one thing that you know that your child will eat and will like. That means for you, including one white carb food in the meal so that you're taking some of the pressure off of the food. And that leads us to our second suggestion, which is to make your table a safe space. So when you have a child with food issues, mealtimes can become stressful for the parent and for the child. And we don't want that. We want mealtimes to be a place of connectedness for our families. And we want it, obviously, for mealtimes to be pleasant, nurturing, and emotionally safe. So try to keep your meal times and your snack times free of conflict and excessive correction and discussions about pickiness. So start a conversation about something good that happened to them today, or throw out a puzzle, and have them try to solve it verbally. Things like that. Just have fun with your family. Save your more complex talks, and especially those about food issues for another time. Another suggestion, depending on his age, Explain how food is used in our bodies. And you can get as detailed as the child can handle, depending on his age. But keeping it simple, you can say it helps us get strong. It helps our boo-boos heal. It helps you run faster. Don't harp on it, but it helps him to understand why eating a variety of things is important and what type of foods. There's not bad foods, but there are foods that provide our body with the energy it needs to help you grow and be stronger. And there are a lot of books for younger kids out there. Just go to your library. Tons of books. Less so as your child becomes an independent reader. But if you're fortunate enough, and this is your child is young and still in read aloud type of books, there are so many books on this topic. Get some, particularly focusing on what foods do and how they help us grow and stay strong. Hope this helps. Before you leave, I wanted to ask you or let you know about the Creating a Family newsletter. It's free. It's monthly. Comes to your email, and it has lots of resources to help you in your parenting journey. You can sign up at bit.ly/CAF guide. That is bit.ly/CAF guide, and you will receive a guide. Whatever the guide we are advertising at that time, it can be on any number of things, transracial adoption, it can be on children exposed to trauma, all sorts of things. So thank you for listening to this week's Week in Wisdom. If you liked it, please tell a friend to subscribe to the creatingafamily.org podcast, wherever they listen to podcasts.